What's up, you guys? It's Henry here. I'm going to go over an update on NIO Stock, going over the earnings results, the CEO transcript, my takeaways, and lastly, go over the stock technicals. I want to see what investors are doing with it so I can give everyone an update on where the stock is likely to trade after I cover the news and quarterly deliveries. I see a lot of appreciation when I jump into videos right away, so that's what I'll be doing here. I'll just quickly ask if you appreciate my coverage, like the smash button and subscribe for daily stock market videos. Plus, if you haven't joined the dopest family on YouTube, stop missing out. I have the best subscribers, so join the family. Okay, let's discuss earnings results first. As you probably know, first quarter vehicle deliveries were strong at 10,331 vehicles in the second quarter of 2020, including 8,000 ES6s. Also, 2,263 ES8s. Total deliveries rose 190% year over year, but the real deal is revenues generated from vehicle sales amounted to $493 million, which is 146% growth from the same quarter in just 2019. Even better, a good sign for me that the business is maturing is vehicle margin for the quarter under review was 9.7 versus a negative 24% just a year ago. That happened because there were lower unit manufacturing costs and decreases in the purchase price of certain materials, which led to the improvement in vehicle margins. Now, I'm not sure if the market for those materials went down or NIO was able to negotiate better supplier relations, but a business that has a lower costs and produces more cars has something that I learned in my finance degree called economies of scale. It basically allows the huge amounts of money they earn to spread all over the costs that they incur. NIO expects third quarter deliveries in the range of 11,000 to 11,500 vehicles, signaling an uptick of around 134% at the midpoint of the range. Third quarter revenues are forecasted between $573 million and $596 million, indicating a rise of 125% from the corresponding quarter of 2019. All right, that's a lot of percentages, but to be honest, a lot of the numbers I just mentioned have been surprisingly high, and I think they have a good chance to beat their top line revenues upcoming. Especially because total retail sales of Chinese vehicles rose 7.9% in July. New energy vehicles, which include full battery electric, plug-in, and fuel cell autos, rose 19%. So as I have been saying, I don't see China slowing down with electric vehicle demand. Now, I will say my other favorite stock, Tesla, led in pure electric vehicle car sales of 11,000 deliveries. Tesla has a 23% share of the Chinese EV market. So if anything, the demand is there, but the competition is also increasing and it's pretty fierce. But I personally think competition is a good thing. It means there is a good market opportunity since companies don't just produce vehicles or goods unless they have done extensive research on the market. NIO lost a net 15 cents per share, which is fine because I will say this again on my channel. Companies losing money short term doesn't really mean much in the long term. All the best companies such as Amazon, Facebook, and many other technology companies were losing money for years before they finally decided they wanted to be profitable. And yes, decided, just like Elon decided he wanted to have a fourth quarter profit to be included in the S&P 500 for Tesla. So the earnings are fine and 15 cents isn't a massive loss per share. We could easily see a profit in the very near future if things continue to go well for NIO. Let's quickly discuss what was mentioned on the earnings call with the CEO. I think looking into what is said and participating on these calls and transcripts is what really allows me to have a good understanding of this business. And oh boy, it was an hour call, so I condensed the most important information for everyone right here. The first piece of information I looked for is the production, because we are talking cars sold here, and I remember how much focus there was on Tesla in the earlier stages. Here's what the CEO said. At full production capacity, the manufacturing team is going to increase the production rate of the Hefei plant from the 15 jobs per hour mark to 20 jobs per hour, while working together with supply chain partners to improve their capacity at the same time. By late August or early September, the overall supply chain capacity on a single shift is expected to reach 4,000 to 5,000 units per month. And guys, let me quickly just say, that really matters. To put in perspective, when I was getting my business degree, I hated supply chain. Like, that was the most boring class of my entire degree. But don't make a mistake, all those operations parts of a business is literally the most important because it is the backbone of the business and how it runs. As for expenses, they had a decrease in R&D, which if you don't know what that is, it's research and development. That's basically the cost of looking into advances in technology, new materials, researching software, and other things that are involved in terms of advancement. There was a whole bunch of stuff around battery as a service, which I think separates NIO from Tesla and is a significant opportunity, but I want to get into the technicals of the stock and keep this video pretty short for you guys. All right, you guys, so I'm going to do two things. I'm actually going to look over at the charts. I'm going to show you guys what the RSI is, which is something I have not mentioned on my channel yet. It is the resistance, basically. I'm going to explain that a little bit. I'm also going to look at the moving average. So we're going to do a little bit of charting, and then I'm actually going to go look at options because I know a lot of you guys are curious about options, and a lot of people have reached out about that. So two things coming up right now. All right, so let's take a look at the chart. There was a lot of volume. It's actually really interesting because for some reason the stock has really gone up, but there's been more sell orders. So I guess just the volume of buy orders has been lower, but the size of the buys have been huge, which I actually have not seen. That's pretty unique. I'm not even sure exactly how to explain that. I guess it just means that a couple really big players have tremendously bought into the stock, but then a bunch of the holders of the stock, like all the shareholders before, have decided to cash out. So the volume has definitely changed for the sellers. And yeah, that's actually something unique. I've not seen that before. I'm not actually sure how I feel about that, but that's quite okay because the momentum is very strong, and momentum is one of the biggest factors when it comes to good performing stocks. So I mean, that's an absolutely insane momentum. It's gone up 4 times. And if we go to indicators, first thing I'll do is I will click moving average. So taking a look at the moving average. All right, so it's actually tremendously going up, and it's about to meet, you know, those double-digit marks. So it's currently $10.46. All right, guys, so the next thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be looking at the RSI, which is kind of it's kind of like a metric. It tells you whether something is reaching resistance levels, which is around the oversold area of 20. So if it's around 20, that means that there's too much pessimism and people are really selling it too much. And then overbought means that the stock is getting way too hot. So let's do that and let's take a look. So you can see here, guys, when it was really red, it was actually overbought. So that's why it did continue to go up, because there was a little bit of mania, but then it definitely kind of pulled back here. So RSI is just one of the metrics that I do look at sometimes, especially when it comes to hype stocks like NIO. So RSI is something that you might want to just consider, and especially if it's really high into, like, wow, it looks like it was what, about an 83, maybe even higher, maybe even 87. It's funny because the momentum kind of continued for what, a week, the 7th until the 10th, no, 3 days. So it continued for 3 days, which is pretty cool. That's a good opportunity for a swing trade. That would probably be something that I would talk about on my Patreon. Exactly what I pretty much said with Tesla. Tesla is doing the same exact thing right now. Now I wonder if it will pull back, but I don't care because I'm a long-term shareholder. But we've definitely seen the same kind of pattern with Tesla just right now. I mean, it blew past 1500, which is what I thought would happen, but I actually did not expect it to go to 1600. So that is kind of a positive surprise. So let's take a look. Now NIO is looking like it is getting closer to about where it should be, like 57 or 50, better yet. That would be like in the middle of the range. That wouldn't be overbought, that wouldn't be oversold. And basically what I'm saying here is after earnings, it seems like NIO is pretty fairly priced. It is in a sideways movement. And that's probably going to happen again, just like Virgin Galactic. This stock is probably going to move sideways for a little bit, just because we've seen a lot of demand. Then we've seen some people taking profits, and now investors are just kind of trading back and forth on low volume. Do you see this, guys? Low volume. There really isn't much volume here. So this isn't really conclusive of anything to me. I really can't say anything because there's no strong sentiment at the moment. But what I will say is this is probably going to continue until there's a really good piece of information or news coming out. So that's it for the technical analysis part. Now let's take a look at options, because sometimes options will say something that the stock isn't saying. Like looking at this volume and basically looking at it, you can't really tell what's going to happen in the future. You can just tell what happened in the past. So this is a good way for looking into the past, and now I'm going to try to look into the future. So I'm going to trade NIO options, and we'll look at buying some calls. All right, guys, so I'm going to take a look at the expiration dates, and I'm not going to go through all of these because then we would kind of run out of time. So I'm just going to go over to September 18th, and the third Friday of each month is usually the highest traded
contract amounts because that's just kind of how it is. The third Friday of each month is originally when options were supposed to expire, but now we have a bunch of weeklies. So I'm going to click September 18th. I'm going to look at the money. So let's look at the 14. Yeah, and it's super positive. I mean, there's a lot of open interest. There's a lot of volume. So that's good. Tight bid-ask spread. Guys, people are looking pretty bullish on this. Let's take a look at 15. Okay, yeah, so investors are super bullish on this stock. I can already tell you that. Okay, not as much on the 17. Let's actually check out the 20. Let's see what's going on with the 20. Still some bullish activity. Now, does this mean that's going to go up to 20? No, that doesn't mean that. I mean, 20 would be massive. I mean, you'd be stupid rich if you went from like 13 to 20 in just like, what, a month? So I'm just saying there is a lot of positive sentiment. I mean, we definitely could see 20, but like, what are the chances? Let's see. The chances are right here, by the way, guys. Delta is the opportunity, the probability that the option will be in the money. So we have like a 14% chance. Not super high. So expect 14% chance to go up to 20. But when it comes to 15, expect a 40% chance. So it's very reasonable for the stock to be in the 15 range within a month. So that is what I might expect. So let's go to, sorry, I'm just so used to selling puts. Let's go to buy a put. Let's see if there's bearishness. Yeah, there's a lot of bearish activity as well. So as you can tell, guys, NIO, and I'm not surprised, right? Because it's going sideways. There's a whole lot of buyers and sellers, especially in this range at the 12/13 range. So really investors are confused here. So there really isn't something that I can predict on this stock at the moment. There is no way. I'd be lying if I said like, oh, I know exactly what's going to happen. No, I don't. And neither do most people. Neither does Wall Street. So I think what the most smart thing that you can do with NIO is just practice safe risk management. If you own the stock, okay, fine. I like it. Don't get me wrong, I like it. I think it'll do well. But I definitely can't say like, oh, it's gonna go to 20 in a month. No, you should practice safe risk management. And what that means is have like 10 to 15% of your money in NIO for the long term. That is gonna do well long term. But in the short term, this is one of those stocks where I'm actually having some trouble telling you guys exactly what's gonna happen. I'm just gonna be honest. Hasn't really happened because I've been really good on a lot of my calls, but I think short term sideways, and then long term we could see upward movement. But definitely in the short term, seems like there's a lot of bearishness as well. So just watch out, be safe when it comes to investing. Don't over leverage yourself and try to make an absolute killing in the stock market, because the most important thing that you want to do based on the video that I just made on stock market crash is not, don't lose money. I think that's rule number one for Warren Buffett. Don't lose money. So that's it. I kind of wanted to do a detailed overview. As you can tell, I'm not 100% sure on what's going to happen. There's just a lot of volatility, but I would say step one would be, if you have the stock, I'd probably just hold it. Step two, if you don't have the stock, I would probably buy little tiny amounts of it, maybe like 2 to 5% of your portfolio at this time. And then should you sell the stock? I mean, if you've made gains, like I was recommending this stock before 13, I think it was like in the 11s, I bought at 11.08 or 11.09, something like that. You've made some decent profits. So you could be rotating based on the video that I made from these growth stocks into value stocks, and that video will be out on Saturday. So for Monday, if you want to start getting money out of NIO, you can do that. But again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just some dude that's passionate about teaching people on YouTube. I hope that was helpful. We're gonna wrap up with this video.
All right, guys, I hope that technical analysis was super helpful. As always, I looked into the options a bit as well. I'm going to post some option trades on Patreon later, and I've been a lot more active in that community. Either way, I hope you enjoyed this rundown of NIO. Make sure you realize that this is a growth stock, but they will have a lot of growing pains along the way, so expect a lot of volatility in this stock. Do your own research and practice safe risk management practices. As a rule of thumb, don't have a position that exceeds 15 to 20% of your portfolio. Get ready for more videos that will flood your pockets with money. And for now, you know what the deal is, right? Be aggressive in learning, but be safe in investing. Fist pump.